The Italians are world leaders in gold jewelry, and this micro-mosaic brooch proves their versatility in jewelry making. This micro-mosaic is a type of jewelry made from tiny pieces of glass meticulously set into the body of the brooch. Dating back to around 1870, this brooch is crafted from 18-karat gold. It was made in Rome, specifically in the Vatican workshops, and represents tourist jewelry from the era. The brooch features several motifs, including the Pax symbol, which holds religious significance in Christianity, and two bees, symbolizing resurrection. Additionally, the brooch boasts a beautiful folate motif. Although the market for micro-mosaic jewelry has dwindled, this brooch still holds significant value.
I would expect this piece to bring somewhere between $3,000 and $5,000.
Vases are just not your ordinary decorations. The guest shared that the vase had been passed down in their family and kept in a closet for more than 40 years. The appraiser really liked René Lalique's work and called this vase one of their favorites, named Escargot, or the snail. They showed the scratched but real Lalique signature, common on vases made in 1919. The appraiser talked about the special things in the vase that make it really well made. They pointed out its elegant Art Deco design, which looks like a snail and is really eye-catching. The outside is yellow, and the inside is milky and shiny, made by putting two layers of glass together. This technique makes the vase glow beautifully. They also mention the little details, like the smooth curves on the vase. These details show how skilled Lalique was at making glass art with fancy patterns. While examining the condition of the vase, the appraiser said,
"Probably at least $15,000. Wow.
If you've ever thought of getting books for your kids, then maybe you should consider these unusual books.
I haven't seen a collection like this, bound like this, and they're wonderful.
It's quite rare to see children's books of this size. They're beautifully arranged in what appears to be a cupboard, and despite being miniature in size, they are quite beautiful. The books were likely created in 1882, and they were targeted at people who had children. At an auction, these books would retail at a price of
Probably sell in the $4,000 to $5,000 range.
A collection like this one is quite odd to non-collectors, but to many perfume collectors, having a collection like this is a popular habit. There are different types of perfume bottles here. We have one that is a Bohemian bottle of Czech Republic origin.
I would say by the look of it, it's probably early 30s. That's quite a nice one, and it does have some value in the hundreds of dollars.
Additionally, some perfume bottles made from Venetian glass.
It's soft so that you can work it into these pretty shapes. They're very characteristic of Venetian glass from the 20s. And again, they have some value in the hundreds of dollars.
There are also Lalique bottles, which are considered exquisite by many. The Lalique bottles are quite complicated, and this adds to their uniqueness. A collection of these perfume bottles in today's auction market would retail at,
I would estimate it to sell for between $30,000 and $40,000.
Oh my gosh.
A close look at this jug reveals a beautiful pattern on its surface. This is a jug called a mocha-ware jug, and it was made around the 1800s. Mocha-ware style of decoration is a way of decorating earthenware.
And when it was first done, it was sometimes called surface agate ware, because it's kind of meant to look a little like a hardstone, like an agate, with that rich veining in it.
And is one of the most beautiful ways to beautify items such as this jug. Despite being produced primarily by the English, this jug has become a rave among American antique collectors. The jug is made from a type of earthenware which has a distinct pattern.
It's made of a material called creamware. You can see the natural color. Even though it's stained, it's cream-colored earthenware.
The jug's beauty is ravishing, and at an auction, it would retail at,
it's going to bring, we think, at least $4,000.
Oh, four? Oh my goodness.
These paintings belong to the guest's great-aunt and great-uncle, who were pioneer founders in Flagstaff, northern Arizona. The guest's family had a possible connection to the artist through their shared origins, and it's possible the artist painted these scenes during a visit to their family ranch. The appraiser identified the artist as Augustus Dunbar, who signed each painting in the lower left. Dunbar had ties to both Omaha and the West as he spent time in the West annually but always returned to his Omaha studio. where he painted for 62 years and taught many classes. The appraiser noted Dunbar's philosophy that artists should manipulate color to create a mood rather than painting exactly what they see. Dunbar often made his own frames, and the hand-carved frames on these paintings might be his work, though further research would be needed to confirm. The appraiser described the paintings. One depicted a horse on a hot day, and the other showed Native Americans resting from the sun. Much to the guest's surprise, in a retail setting, the appraiser estimated the paintings to be
Retail situation, this one might be around 5,000 to 7,000, and this might be around 4,000 to 6,000.
Wow! Amazing!
This is a Mac SE from 1987, but unlike standard models, it features a unique translucent case showcasing its inner workings.
Just amazing, an amazing piece of industrial design.
This design is reminiscent of the later iMacs with their transparent cases, yet it predates them by over a decade. Gifted to the guest by a friend who worked at Apple, this piece was a special edition given to those involved in its development.
A certain limited number of them were given to employees, people who worked on this project.
Such provenance adds to the item's rarity and value. Items like this represent a new frontier in collectibles, appealing to those nostalgic for 80s technology. Given its impeccable condition and unique history, its value has significantly appreciated over time, and now it's valued at no less than...
And I wouldn't insure it for anything less than $10,000.
No way! Are you kidding me?
It really appreciated...
Oh my God!
This urn, obtained by the guest's father from a friend after the war, is a striking piece with a storied past. Crafted in France from English Blue John stone, this material is rare and highly prized. Blue John, known for its vibrant color variations, is now nearly depleted, making large pieces like this exceptionally valuable.
Exactly. Blue John, it has a lot of color variety. Sometimes it's more gray or black or blue, hence the name Blue John. Sometimes it's called Derby Spar.
The urn is adorned with a gilt bronze mount and showcases intricate striations reminiscent of amethysts. Though it bears some damage, possibly from bullets during the war, its beauty remains undeniable. Marked by the retailer Baudouin Masson, it stands as a testament to fine craftsmanship. Restoration, while costly, could significantly enhance the urn's value and make it with its adornments valued at
Easily more in the range of $20,000, maybe even more.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow,
and
that's amazing.
The guest brought in a mid-18th century spice chest that was mostly found in well-to-do homes. Made in Philadelphia between 1725 and 1760 in the William and Mary style, this spice chest was where spices were kept in that era. It has a fine molded top and doors with an arched panel that was made with a compass. However, it is stained with water, which has taken most of its shine, but can be fixed by a good conservator. Looking at the bottom, there is a nice cove molding and then an original William and Mary ball feet that have survived since 1740. Although one of the doors has come loose, an opening on the doors there are walnut-faced drawers for all kinds of spices. Due to its verticality and nice panels at the front, the price of this spice chest in the marketplace would be
about 40 to 60,000.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh,
40 to 60.
That's quite nice.
So you're happy?
I'm very happy.
a rare bronze sculpture that won a gold medal in France in 1882 was brought in for appraisal. In front of this sculpture is written the artist's name, Victor Chemin, who was a French artist working in Paris. He was born in 1825 and started exhibiting this model in 1882 in salons. He specialized in sculpting domestic animals and less ferocious scenes and exhibited his works in salons for about 40 years before he died in 1901. This sculpture has a very green patina which shows it has been placed outside for a long time. Though it is obvious it is too big to place in a living room, the fading on it would likely affect its price in the market. An auction estimate in the marketplace for this piece would be,
I had to provide an auction estimate in today's market, I would say between $20,000 and $30,000.
Thank you very much.
This guest brought in a Sioux Winter Count belonging to her late great-great-uncle, Moses Red Horse. The Sioux were a history-conscious people who would record a remarkable event that happened each year. The winter count was like a calendar of events because there was no written language, only drawings. There are 3 pages of count starting from 1802 until the early 20th century because the family has continued to add more events. Also, there is a book written in Oglala with depictions on the skins made in 1935. This book was published in 1969, having all its original drawings on the skins. In terms of economic value, this item is not worth much on the market, but for the glyphs and images, this item would be worth about.
The value would be somewhere in the neighborhood of $6,000, maybe $8,000, mostly for these glyphs and images. The thing about this is how you and your family have kept this up. I applaud you for doing this.
Acquired by the guest from a friend's antique collection, this matchbook cover album is a truly extraordinary find. This compilation boasts over 1,200 salesman sample matchbox labels. The labels encompass various countries, dated from 1926 to 1938. The earliest label is from 1926, while the latest dates to 1938. Highlights include a rare label from a Hawaiian company and intricate graphics featuring a dog. These labels, likely placed in the album by the manufacturer, have remained in impeccable condition.
And they've been in the album since then. It was for the company to show the different types of covers.
The album showcases a diverse array of motifs, including lions, cats, and dogs. Assembling such a collection today would be nearly impossible due to its rarity and scope. There's a price variation between labels, like the Hawaiian ones, and the pages from China and Japan. At auction, this remarkable album, encompassing various countries, is valued at
auction, we would expect this to sell for $6,000 to $8,000.
It's very good.
Received by a no-nonsense 4-foot 6-inch tall lady, Mary Vick of Vicksburg's from U.S. Grant, this letter tells a story of determination in the midst of chaos. The letter is dated June 4, 1863, because 1 month to the day Vicksburg had fallen to the Union forces. The people of Vicksburg were so traumatized due to the battle and siege that they refused to celebrate 4th of July for 82 years. It was this letter that saved them, and it took World War II to make them celebrate it again. At the back of the letter is the signature of the war general and President U.S. Grant. This gesture gave U.S. Grant, made him a renowned leader as Lincoln hoped. Grant's letters are valued at a few thousand, but this one is special and should be insured for.
I would insure this letter for $10,000.
That's a lot of money.
That's a fact.
This lovely Art Deco cigarette case was bought for $65 at a house sale in 1995. It is silver on the outside with black, red, olive green color and folate motif. Due to its enamel work and mark inside the case, it was definitely made from France by Paul Brandt. These types of cigarette cases have dedications inside the case like this one, which bear the names Roger Williams and Louis Yancey, who were pilots. Engraved on it is July 27, 1929, which was the year both pilots broke their air record. Due to its enamel work and lacquer by Paul Brandt, this piece would sell at an auction around $2,000 to $4,000. But with the addition of the aeronautical background, at an auction, it would be valued at.
I would expect at auction you could probably expect somewhere between $6,000 to $8,000 at auction. I'm not kidding you.
This walking stick has been a guest family heirloom, initially given to the guest's great-grandfather as a gift, and then passed down through generations. The appraiser noted the name Tex Rickard on the stick, recognizing him as a famous American boxing promoter from Madison Square Garden in the early 1920s. The stick was a gift to Rickard for some work he had done, though the exact giver remains unknown. The stick, likely made of stained fruit wood, dates back to around 1910 and showcases impressive folk art craftsmanship. The carver's skill is evident in the intricate details, such as the carved balls inside cages and what appears to be an American flag, despite the layers of old paint and varnish. The appraiser emphasized the stick's value, both as a piece of sporting memorabilia connected to the notable Tex Rickard, and as a collectible cane with intricate carvings. He estimated that with further research into its provenance, the stick would fetch as much as. This lucky guest found a mysterious tall vase at an antique show 30 years ago. He never knew what it was, but loved its unique design, possibly inspired by hieroglyphics. Appraiser reveals it's a rare vase by WMF, a German company working since 1853. WMF became a metalwork giant known for their Art Nouveau decorative objects. This unusual vase, however, has an Aztec revival style from the 1930s. Made of copper with silver overlay, it features beautiful etched designs. The clear WMF mark confirms its authenticity.
Really interesting design and very unusual for WMF's work.
Guest paid $750 for it back then, a big deal at the time. The appraiser estimates this beauty could fetch.
That piece had an estimate of $3,000 to $5,000, and it sold for $5,000.
Wow, amazes me. Now, all the people who made fun of me all these years, I can now have the last laugh.
In 1975, after her mother's stepfather died, she retrieved these two items. Émile Gallet, a key figure in Art Nouveau, was renowned for his exquisite 1890 glass vases. The Y form, an ancient Chinese bronze, features engraved Chinese figures, and E. Gallet Nancy below. He mixed mottled color glass and oxides to create veining throughout the glass. The back is martelé, French for hammered. Metals hammered, glass cut on a wheel. The four top pieces are applied glass clumps, carved and painted, a technique called appliqué. The second piece features a dragonfly with engraved EG and Egyptian motifs around it. As for the first vase, the appraiser valued the item
$15,000.
Oh my gosh, wow.
And for this little vase, the appraiser also valued the item.
This piece, I would put a value of $25,000 on.
What? Oh my God.
Guest unveils incredible photos of the Beatles, taken by her late husband in 1964. He was a lucky student with a press pass who snagged the chance to see them in Kansas City and took pictures with his camera. There are even pictures of them performing, not just the press conference. Appraiser explains how special these photos are, taken during their iconic first U.S. tour. They even made it onto The Ed Sullivan Show, a true cultural moment. 30 photos in this incredible album and press pass are a collector's dream. Estimated value at auction is a whopping.
At auction, anywhere between $3,000 to $4,000.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Today, we are presented with a poster that was purchased by the guest's grandmother when she was in Europe.
And we think she bought it in Paris.
You know when she traveled to Europe?
It was in the 20s or 30s. We're not totally sure.
The poster, created in 1896 by Alphonse Mucha. Mucha was a Czech painter, illustrator, and graphic artist. It was designed for an exhibition at the Salon des Cent, Paris. Mucha expressed his unique Art Nouveau style in this piece, which later became very famous. Remarkably, despite being over a century old, the poster remains in pristine condition. This work of art by Mucha is estimated to command an auction value of
between $8,000 and $12,000.
Wow. I'm so surprised and shocked at the moment.
The guest, a potter themselves, spotted this piece of pottery in an antique shop and immediately recognized it as a work by Maja Grotel from her Cranbrook period. He paid $40 for it. It is confirmed that the pottery was indeed Maya Grotel, a significant potter who particularly inspired other female potters due to the limited opportunities for women in the art world at that time. Grotel wasn't initially offered a position at Cranbrook because they preferred a male candidate. On examining the markings on the pottery, MG stands for Maya Grotel and CA stands for Cranbrook. It is noted that not all Cranbrook pieces from Grotel have this mark, but the majority do. While impressed by the piece's beautiful glaze and classic Grotel form, it is noted that decorated pieces by Grotel would fetch a higher price. Despite being undecorated, this particular piece was estimated to be valued at
This would be at auction for somewhere between $3,000 and $4,000. It could do a bit more than that, but that's the price range.
That's fantastic.
Good return on your investment.
Oh, yeah.
The guest's father received a signed record by the Rolling Stones as a gift from his European vacation in 1963 or 1964. The guest's father, unaware of the band's future fame, encountered them at their hotel in Paris. The disheveled group of young men in ripped jeans stood out in the nice hotel, prompting the guest's father to inquire about them. He learned they were a rock band performing their first record on a European tour. The guest's father, a man of practical sensibilities, purchased the record for $5 and even dispensed some career advice, suggesting they get real jobs. Little did he know, the Rolling Stones were on the cusp of superstardom, and the signed record would become a valuable collector's item. The record features the signatures of Mick Jagger, Keith Richards, Brian Jones, and Bill Wyman, but not Charlie Watts. While a complete set with all 5 signatures would be ideal, the presence of the other 4, particularly Mick Jagger's, significantly increased the record's value. Given its early pressing and signed by all but one member of the band, the estimated value of the record is
in the region of between $2,000 and $4,000. Really? Very desirable.
The guest inherited this vase from her mother, who disliked it. The guest, however, always admired the glass piece. A clue emerged from a list found after the guest's great-aunt's passing. This list, an insurance schedule from 1929, mentioned a Favril vase. While the guest's mother remained unimpressed, the guest decided to investigate further. The item is identified as a Letz piece, a company from Bohemia known for its iridescent glass. Favril is a term specifically used for Tiffany pieces and not applicable to Letz. The lack of a signature was common for Letz pieces, and the estimated vase's creation date to be circa 1910 to 1915 based on decorative patterns, color, and shape. Despite the guest's mother's initial disapproval, the value of the vase is
I would estimate this to sell between $2,000 and $3,000.
Oh, that's great. Yeah. My mother won't like that, but that's great.
The guest inherited a beautiful rocking chair that had been in their family for over 50 years, initially believing it to be from the Haywood Morrill Company. The chair was actually made by the Haywood Wakefield Company, a prominent furniture manufacturer around the turn of the 20th century. What truly elevated the value of the chair was the presence of a partial label. Haywood Wakefield used different colored labels for different periods, and the label on this chair helped date it to the early 20th century. The wicker furniture market has been impacted by cheaper imports, but this particular rocking chair remained highly desirable due to its intricate design and craftsmanship. While a similar Windsor chair without the elaborate features might only be worth,
It would be about a $100 chair, but because it has its label,
the presence of the label and its overall quality pushed the estimated auction value of this Haywood Wakefield rocking chair to
$800 to $1,200 for auction estimates.
Oh, wonderful. Good to know.
The guest's sharp eye for quality scored a big win at a local flea market. For just $50, they snagged these beautiful French porcelain pieces. The items date back to around 1880 and with hand-painted scenes adorning the fronts. These weren't factory-produced prints, but meticulous works of art depicting scenes of French life in the countryside. The backs were charmingly decorated with wildflowers on a soft pink background. Not only were the pieces intrinsically beautiful, but the fact that they were purchased as a pair was also fortunate. French porcelain pairs like these were likely intended to be displayed together, and keeping them together enhances their value. Given their age, quality, and artistry, the estimated value of the pair is to be
$600 or maybe as much as $900.
Wow.
The guest brought in a table they acquired while running an antique store, hoping it might be a George Nakashima piece. On examining the table, focusing on the natural cypress slab and its resemblance to Nakashima's signature style of using natural materials in their beautiful and organic forms. This approach to furniture design is a hallmark of the American craftsman movement, of which Nakashima is considered a leading figure. However, upon closer inspection, some key differences between the guest's table and known Nakashima pieces was noticed. One such difference was the lack of the telltale butterfly joint that Nakashima often used to connect split wood pieces. Nakashima's butterfly joinery was not just a functional element, but also an aesthetic one, resembling butterfly wings and adding a touch of elegance to his furniture. The guest table, on the other hand, relied on a simpler metal brace to hold the two pieces of wood together. Another difference was the black painted legs. Nakashima was known for his preference for natural wood tones and a more canted leg design that offered a sense of lightness and balance to his furniture. The straight black painted legs on the guest table felt stiffer and less inspired by the natural world. The guest paid $400 for the table, and the estimated auction value is
probably would bring about $1,000 at auction.
In a much recent auction, however, this beautiful table is now worth $650. The guest inherited a quilt from her mother and believes it might be a centennial quilt from the 1870s. It is a Baltimore album quilt, but unlike most Baltimore album quilts made by professional quilters, this one seemed to be a collective effort by people with varying quilting skills. This is evident in the differences in block complexity and the use of fabrics with slightly different colors and textures. While the guest thought it might be a centennial quilt due to its central motif, it is pointed out that the color scheme of red, green, and white squares suggests a creation date between 1850 and 1860. The lack of a date inscribed on the quilt further weakens the centennial theory. There are also signs of washing, which reduces the value a bit. While the quilt market peaked in the 1980s, the guest quilt, despite some wear and tear, was still estimated to be worth
would be somewhere between $8,000 and $10,000.
Wow.
In the height of the market, it would have probably been 12 to 15.
The guest received a beautiful Chippendale tall chest from her mother in the 1970s. The chest, likely a wedding gift based on the inscribed initials and date, 1797, originated from Chester County, Pennsylvania. Chester County furniture makers incorporated stylistic elements from various immigrant communities that had settled in the area, including Anglo, Welsh, and German influences. The chest featured several distinctive details: an OG molding at the top, original Chippendale brasses, graduated drawers with thumb-molded edges, and classic Chester County feet. One particularly interesting feature was a hidden drawer. Originally designed as a decorative panel, it had no knob and could only be accessed by pulling out a seemingly regular drawer below it and pushing on a specific spot that released the spring lock. The use of various woods like walnut, holly, and possibly ebony further enhanced the value of the piece. Considering its age, intricate design, and hidden compartment, a conservative auction estimate for this item is
conservatively at auction at $20,000 to $30,000 on it.
The guest scored an amazing deal at a garage sale, picking up a beautiful pot for a mere $5. It is a blackware pottery piece by Margaret Tafoya, a famous Native American potter from Santa Clara Pueblo in New Mexico. Santa Clara Pueblo pottery is known for its distinctive blackware style, and this particular pot featured a bear claw symbol. This symbol served as Margaret Tafoya's signature and represented good luck. Bears were chosen for this symbolism because of their known ability to find water, making them fitting mascots for water storage jars like this one. Large, intact pots like this were especially valuable, and despite a small chip on the rim, the pot remained in great condition. Blackware pottery is made by reducing the oxygen in the firing process, which causes the clay to carbonize and turn black. After firing, the pot is then polished with pebbles until it achieves its distinctive glossy finish. This black, glossy sheen is a prized feature of Santa Clara blackware pottery, and Margaret Tafoya's pots are particularly admired for their exceptional beauty and craftsmanship. Given Margaret Tafoya's fame and the pot's size and condition, the estimated auction value is to be
would probably bring close to $6,000 to $8,000. So I think that your $5 investment at a garage sale paid off very handsome.
Very well.
One cannot overlook the charm and uniqueness of a bisque googly doll. The doll was showcased on the show by a guest who acquired it from her family friend. Measuring 10.5 inches in height, the doll originated from Germany.
It's made by a German doll maker called Armand Mercier. He made dolls from about 1885 up until about 1930.
Looking at the face of the doll, we can discern its glass googly eyes, and the piece was made from bisque. It has a 5-piece composition body, bearing its maker's signature on the back of its head. It is unusual for this type of doll to be made in this size, thus making it a rarity.
Very seldom seen in this size. Normally, you see them anywhere from 5 to 8 inches. 10 inches is very unusual.
This rare doll, with its lifelike appearance, is estimated to be worth
between $4,000 and $5,000.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
The guest brought in a set of 4 portraits that belonged to their great-great-grandparents and their sisters. These portraits, created in 1827, depicted the family members seated in fancy Baltimore chairs with flowers in the background. 2 of the women held books, an unusual detail for portraits of the time. It is explained that the artist was likely from North Carolina and is known by the nickname the Guilford Limner, because most of his work was found within a 5-mile radius of Greensboro, North Carolina. Despite the artist's anonymity, his paintings are admired for their detailed faces, use of oversized eyes, and beautiful watercolor technique. The portraits held significant value due to the artist's obscurity and the limited number of works attributed to him. While typically portraits of ancestors wouldn't be seen as valuable, the artistic quality and rarity of these works, being part of a collection of only 40 known paintings by the Guilford Limner, made them very desirable. In the end, the estimated value for the set
would be $60,000.
Oh my gosh. Well, I don't know what to say.
If you've ever been to Egypt, then this beautiful depiction of the Sphinx would draw you in. It is so realistic that it would immediately draw in any admirer. The beautiful lithograph can be attributed to David Robert, a British painter who was quite famous for his works in Egypt.
He did Syria, he did the Holy Land, as well as Egypt.
This painting is so alluring because David had a way with beautiful architecture.
Wow, he was one of the first artists the first lithographs is what I was finding. I said, maybe I'd better not do anything until I find out more about the piece.
The lithograph is a full-sized, beautiful picture that was hand-colored in watercolor.
Now, these prints were meant to be put into a book and put into a series. And if you go up here and you look along the top, you can see that there's sort of a hinge on here.
This lithograph is most famous print of David that was ever done, and so if it were to come up at a suitable art auction, it would retail at the price of
between $4,000 and $5,000. Wow. It's that much difference.
Nice.
Guest and her husband own a historic Virginia plantation called Green Springs, built in 1772. The property belonged to Colonel Richard Morris, a Revolutionary War figure. He was friends with Patrick Henry and possibly Jefferson, adding to the historical significance.
Now, the map says, map of the estate of William Morris deceased. And who is this William Morris?
So William would be one of the grandsons of Colonel Morris.
Guest found a fascinating map of the estate from 1865, right after the Civil War. Map details property lines, crucial due to post-war confusion and land claims.
I assume that is where your house
I guess so.
is. And there was a barn over here.
It's still there.
And tobacco barns along here.
It also reveals slave quarters, a reminder of a complex past. Interestingly, Colonel Morris actually freed his enslaved family and helped them on the Underground Railroad. Beyond the house and barn, the map details other tracts like the Labby and Lime properties. This unique map is a historical snapshot, priceless for its story and connection to the house. While a bit damaged, its historical value outweighs the condition, estimated at
that you would probably see this go for about $3,000 to $3,500.
Okay, interesting.
The first thought that comes to mind after seeing this is that it's a special cabinet. After all, it was crafted by the Italians circa 1680. This beautiful cabinet is called a curio cabinet, and in the early days, curio cabinets were used for presenting collections of curios or figurines. It was particularly in demand among the wealthy as it served as a symbol of their wealth.
Collection would have been in here in the mirrored niche. It could have been a wonderful silver chalice or anything of the like. Wow.
It was also used to house precious metals, coins, and jewelry.
Women in the day would be wearing pearls in their costumes and throughout their hair, as well as coral. And so it would have been kept in something like this. It's a 17th century sort of strong box, if you will.
The cabinet is made from exotic wood that has been stained.
And originally, the sky would have been blue. This wonderful little charming village would have been different colors of stains and hardwoods.
This cabinet was a symbol of wealth, and so today it would auction at.
Because of the condition issues and the alterations, this piece would auction for $3,000 to $5,000.
Oh, all right. Great.
The majority of the time, photos are used to remind people of great memories. But these photo postcards represent a tragic moment in Mississippi history.
I was told that when it broke, it didn't just immediately flood everything because it was such a flat area of land, and that it took.
The Mississippi flood was one of the worst floods ever seen in the valley, and these photos present a story of the tragic events that happened on the very day.
So these are real photo postcards. These are divided back, and we can see on the back where these were intended to be for correspondence and to be mailed.
Yes.
Although the photographs were taken by an amateur photographer, the images are valuable because many of them have never been seen before. The photographs don't only show the floods, which is the part most people remember, but they also show the rescue operations that took place afterwards.
And so there's actually only one image here that I saw of it anywhere.
Oh, really?
So that's what's fascinating. That's why real photo postcards are so highly collected, and that's why they're so important to historians too.
These photographs are a great representation of Mississippi history, and they would auction at.
Value in total for the archive is for between $2,000 to $3,000 at auction.
Oh my goodness. Well, thank you.
The guest brought a portrait owned by her great-grandfather, who died in 1967. This portrait is dated as far back as the 1820s to the 1830s. It is a portrait featuring a child in her nice clothes and a happy mood. The portrait was made in America, not Europe. At an auction, this portrait would be worth around
range of $40,000 to $45,000. Yes. Yes.
More than just a flower stand, this jardiniere is of great quality. It is a testament to the French Renaissance revival style, and it features intricate and detailed hand-painted designs.
It's French and was made in the 1880s.
Designed to be both functional and decorative, a jardiniere is a large pot intended for displaying plants, often placed on a prominent center table or mantelpiece to enhance the aesthetic appeal of a room. This particular piece is monogrammed with E.G., indicating its creator, Émile Gallé, a renowned potter and later famous glassmaker. Gallé's work is celebrated for its quality and artistic merit, and this jardiniere exemplifies his skill and dedication to his crafts, and at auction would fetch.
I think your $45 purchase in a good antique shop today, this is going to be at least $1,500 or $2,000.
Really?
Starting in 1994, this guest has been a part of an extraordinary journey with the Yukon women's basketball program. She holds 11 national championship rings from this legendary team, guided by the remarkable coach, Gino Arima. Arima is an Italian-born American college basketball coach and, since 1985, the head coach of the University of Connecticut Huskies women basketball team. The guest's behind-the-scenes role ensures the team and coach function seamlessly, contributing to their success. The Yukon team boasts some of the greatest players in basketball history. From the 1995 championship to the unprecedented 4 consecutive titles ending in 2016, these rings mark an era of dominance.
That's unprecedented. No other college athlete in the sport of basketball has won 4, and that was Breanna Stewart, Morgan Tuck, and Mariah Jefferson.
Few possess all 11 rings, highlighting the guest's unique position alongside Coach Arima. This collection symbolizes not just victories, but a pivotal influence on women's basketball.
I think it could be more valuable in the future as time goes by and people realize what an incredible thing this actually represents.
Although each championship ring is valued differently, the complete set that cements the legacy of this unparalleled dynasty should be insured at.
I'd insure it for $100,000. No question about it.
Okay.
These maps from the Matanuska Colony Project, a post-Great Depression initiative, hold significant historical value. Created to revitalize the economy in Anchorage and the Matanuska Valley, the maps illustrate family parcels, including the guest's farm, number 26. Acquired from Senator J. Kurtuller's estate, these manuscript maps date back to 1929 and 1930. The project invited 200 families from the Midwest to colonize indigenous Danaina land, leading to lasting controversies. The Guest family farm, purchased in 1995, continues to operate today, preserving its legacy. Despite many settlers leaving, World War II military buildup eventually provided the necessary economy for the remaining farmers.
This is actually probably the best farmland in Alaska is in this area.
These maps are unique engineering plans, and in a retail setting, they would be valued at.
I could see selling the maps for $5,000.
Wow.
Thank
well,
you
that's
so
really
much for bringing
interesting.
them in.
Yeah, thank you.
What today's guest brought in is an American Pennsylvania German Fraktur. The word Fraktur comes from the German word for this Gothic lettering. This particular document is actually called a Taufschein, and it is a baptismal certificate listing the name of Daniel Benningoff and the date 1808. Made in Northampton County, Pennsylvania, it's a piece of rich history of the Lutheran and Reformed Germans who settled there. These certificates were prized possessions in Pennsylvania German homes.
And these baptismal certificates were very important, and they were very prized in the Pennsylvania German home.
This example, likely stored in a family Bible, has a central crease indicating its long preservation. The colors and motifs, like tulips and pinwheels, are typical of Pennsylvania German design. This document, featuring German characteristics and still in good condition, is worth...
This is worth between $3,000 and $5,000.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah.
That's great.
It's a
Wow.
great example.
This 1920 Belleek China painted vase is a beautiful and unique piece, distinguished by its origins and intricate decoration. This vase started as a china blank from the Lenox Company, a renowned American ceramics manufacturer. The vase's decoration is particularly noteworthy for its enameled finish. The artist used a challenging technique, applying dabs of color and then firing the vase to achieve a vibrant and durable design. Its combination of high-quality porcelain from the Lenox Company makes it valued at...
Value about $400 to $600.
Wow.
This is not your everyday tell-time clock that you would see hanging in your living room. This is a distinct type of clock called a Baird advertising clock, and this particular one was one of the very first of its kind. It was crafted in 1895 by a man called Edward Baird.
He first started with the Seth Thomas Clock Company in 1879, but he moved up to Montreal in 1887.
These clocks used a unique way to advertise products and create awareness. The clock here is used to advertise Burnett extracts, which was known for making America's first vanilla extract. The clock is a beautiful piece of vintage marketing, and for this reason would auction at...
That would retail for $2,500 to $3,000 for a clock like this.
It looks like a German storybook, but it's more than that. This item is called a German Celestial and Terrestrial Atlas. Atlases were books used to show maps, and this one was written in German. The Atlas map, or Old Map, of Germany was made by Johann Baptist Hoffmann. At the time of its creation, many atlases created were terrestrial, but this one is unusually distinct in that it is a German Celestial Atlas.
One very unusual feature of it is the ink that's used on these stars. Every single star is illuminated in gold.
The coloring here is characteristic of the ones used by the Germans. This atlas is beautifully made, and at a suitable auction, it would easily fetch...
Okay. I think it would be $8,000 to $12,000.
Oh my.